After the charges were read to the women in their native languages at Malaysia's High Court, they shook their heads no when asked if they were guilty. Lawyers for the two women, who face the death penalty if convicted, asked the court to compel prosecutors to identify 4 people still at large mentioned in the charge sheet as having a common intention to kill Kim. The judge denied the request. 4 witnesses testified Monday, an airport information counter worker and a police officer who were among the first to interact with Kim after the attack, and a doctor and a nurse at the airport who treated him. Nick said Kim had very high blood pressure and a quickened pulse and started to display seizure symptoms, with his jaw and teeth clenched and eyes rolling upward. He said Kim then fell unconscious, his blood pressure dropped to 70/40ths, and then his pulse was lost. The prosecution phase of the trial is expected to last about 2 months, after which the judge will decide if there is a strong case for the women to have to mount their defense, said His Yam Tae Po Taik, Hwang's lawyer. North Korea has a long history of ordering killings of people it views as threats to its regime, though Kim was not thought to be seeking influence over his younger brother. He had, however, spoken out publicly against his family's dynastic control of the reclusive, nuclear-armed nation. North Korea has denied any role in the killing and has not even acknowledged the dead man was Kim Jong-nam. It has suggested the victim died of a heart attack and accused Malaysia of working with South Korean and other hostile forces in blaming Pyongyang. During Monday's hearing, Kim was referred to as Kim Cole. The 2 defendants listened intently and were briefed by translators during the trial, with Hwang smiling on several occasions. The trial will be closely watched by the Indonesian and Vietnamese governments, which have hired lawyers to defend the women. Aisha's lawyer, Gua Soon Seng, said before the trial began that her defense will be that she didn't know she had poison on her hand when she smeared Kim's face and was instead the victim of an elaborate trick. The 25-year-old was at a pub in Kuala Lumpur in early January when she was recruited by a North Korean man to star in what he said were video prank shows, Gua said. Over the course of several days, the North Korean, who went by the name James, had Aisha go out to malls, hotels and airports and rub oil or pepper sauce on strangers, which he would film on his phone, the lawyer said. Aisha was paid $100 to $200 for each prank and hoped the income would allow her to stop working as an escort, Gua said. In late January, Aisha flew to Cambodia, where James introduced her to a man called Chong, who said he was the producer of video prank shows for the Chinese market, the lawyer said. Back in Malaysia, Chong asked Aisha to do several more pranks at the Kuala Lumpur airport a few days before Kim was attacked. At the airport on the day of Kim's death, Chong pointed him out to Aisha as the next target and put the poison on her hand, the lawyer said. Police say Chong was actually Hong Song-hac, one of the 4 North Korean suspects who left Malaysia on the day of the killing, while James was Rigu, one of the 3 other North Koreans who hid inside their country's embassy in Kuala Lumpur to avoid questioning. Those 3 were later allowed to fly home in exchange for 9 Malaysians allowed to leave Pyongyang. Gua said James was key to Aisha's defense and that his absence could weaken her case. Aisha, who has a son, has written to her family and told them to pray for her so that the case will be over soon and I can go back home. The 29-year-old Vietnamese suspect, Hwang, was caught on airport security surveillance cameras wearing a white sweatshirt emblazoned with the big black letters LOL, the acronym for Laughing Out Loud. Little is known about her. Raised in a rice farm in northern Vietnam, her family said they had hardly heard from her since she left home a decade ago. She made postings on a Facebook page under the name Ruby, according to her niece, Din Thi Quyen. Photos on the page show Hwang wearing a white shirt that says LOL, like the one seen during the attack. It shows her posing for selfies in January in Cambodia and in Kuala Lumpur a few days before the attack. Her last post was on the morning of February 11, 2 days before the attack, from an area near the airport.